Welcome to Spiritual Astrology. This is your host, Allison Taylor-Moseley, and today we are going to cover the astrological energies, transits, and spiritual themes for Sunday, August 9 to Wednesday, August 12. And the most exciting event happening this week is the new moon solar eclipse at 20 degrees Leo. Also, we have two personal planets that change signs. Mercury will enter Leo, and Mars will enter Cancer, plus Venus, a couple of days ago on the 6th, entered her home sign of Libra. So we have a new energetic landscape that we're playing with, and all of these energies play into the eclipse on August 12th. So I'm going to start with the eclipse and then end by going over the energy that is building up to the eclipse. So, like I said, the eclipse happens on August 12th. Let's take a look at the sun and moon. This is a new moon solar eclipse, so that means that the sun and moon are going to be at the same degree, 20 degrees Leo. What house is that in your birth chart? And there is a full house in Leo too, because along with the sun and the moon are Jupiter at 9 degrees Leo and Mercury at 5 degrees Leo. That sun in Leo is bringing in clarity, confidence, attention on your talents, something that you want to express. That Leo area of your life is where you can shine. It's where you have natural talents. You can show up as a leader. That Leo energy is very creative. It's very expressive, dramatic, and it's heart-centered. And this is where you have a lot of determination and are willing to stick with something that you really want. So what is calling your name in that Leo house? Now, all of those Leo planets are in a favorable and supportive trine to the planets in Aries, which are Saturn retrograde at 14 degrees Aries and Neptune at 4 degrees Aries. Leo and Aries are fire signs. So this is encouraging action, excitement, passion, and that's helping you take a chance on yourself and giving you the courage to go for it. That Aries area of your life is where you're going after something, chasing something new. It could be related to a new self-image, something new that you're interested in, or just seeing yourself in a new light and wanting to present yourself in a new way. And there might be new parts of yourself now that you want to express. You've changed a lot. And those Leo and Aries fire signs offer that spark to get you going. Now, the Leo area of your chart is where you're tapping into your heart. So that new moon is calling for you to listen to your heart, not lean into fear, not make yourself small, and to take a risk on yourself. Now, if you look at Mercury, Mercury is at 5 degrees Leo, conjunct Jupiter, who's at 9 degrees Leo. Mercury's the mind. Jupiter is mind expansion. And both are opposite Pluto in Aquarius. This can lead to negative thinking. That Mercury opposite Pluto can amplify your fears, bring in power struggles, or just information that's triggering. But there's something empowering happening, possibly behind the scenes. Venus just came off of an exact trine to Pluto, and that can be very empowering. And that can indicate an important message or relationship with a powerful person or an influential person in your life comes to the fore. Things happening behind the scenes that are working in your favor. Because that Pluto in Aquarius, it demands authenticity. And it is here to remind you that your true power lies in what makes you unique and different from other people. And then you have that South Node in Leo is encouraging you to let go of something in your Leo house, something that no longer fits or feels authentic. And that could be a mindset that you need to change, a mindset that is limiting you, because Mercury is the mind. And it could be a creative endeavor that no longer resonates. It could be an old self-image or reputation that's outdated. By letting go and adopting a new perspective, it can empower and propel you in a new direction. That Pluto in Aquarius is transforming your vision for the future and showing you a new source of power that you didn't know existed. Now, also very prominent in this eclipse chart is Venus. If you look at 5 degrees Libra, that's where Venus is. She's making a trine to Uranus at 5 degrees Gemini, and they are both making a sextile to Mercury at 5 degrees Leo, who's the apex of that minor grand trine. That's pointing to taking action, sharing ideas. This favors meeting new people. Mercury sextile Uranus can bring in brilliant ideas, forward-thinking progress, a vision for your future, and your mind is on fire in Leo. Things can start to accelerate. Be open to downloads, messages that come through that you might want to act on, that you know are leading you towards your future. Venus is opposite both Saturn and Neptune, and that can bring in a seriousness, a commitment, an attention to your goals. That's what Saturn's about. And Venus is opposite Neptune. That brings in that dream, connects you to your imagination, something creative, maybe a new motivation, maybe something new and unexpected turns out to be fun and pleasurable. It draws you in. Neptune can be mysterious and inspiring and deep, soulful, and you can get a calling to help somebody. Something can tug at your heartstrings, soften you. Venus is also in a T-square with Neptune and Mars. So Venus at 5 degrees Libra, is opposite that Neptune at 4 degrees Aries, what I just spoke about, and they are both squaring Mars at 0 degrees Cancer. Now, it's not exact, but Mars just entered Cancer, and she's very sensitive there, and she can be self-protective and defensive, reluctant to put herself out there. It can bring up fears and paranoia and self-doubt when she connects with Neptune. And then Venus squaring Mars, the other part of that T-square, that indicates discomfort. But Venus is the stronger energy because she's in her home sign of Libra, and she is receiving support from being in an air grand trine with Pluto at 4 degrees Aquarius and Uranus at 5 degrees Gemini. This is helping bring in the unexpected, that future vision, enlightenment around next steps, the right people, transformation, permanent change, maybe some surprises, meeting someone new, an unexpected connection, or an opportunity to embrace a new idea. There's power behind your words, your network, and the people you know. And this indicates a lot of relationship dynamics are at play. Now, that Mars is not only in a T-square with Neptune and Venus, but Mars is also sextile Chiron. So locate 0 degrees Cancer and Chiron at 0 degrees Taurus in your chart. This can bring up those Chiron themes, vulnerability, insecurities, weaknesses, mental, physical, and emotional pain, the body and your health, as well as remedies and medicine and healing. So what information is coming into your life that maybe doesn't feel so good? It could have to do with those Taurus themes of money, your job, income, savings, spending, how you support yourself, your values, how you find peace and pleasure. And it's a call to take action, Mars sextile Chiron. Action's the answer, even if that action is choosing to walk away from something and focus your attention on something else. Because action starts by making a choice, trusting your gut, trusting that you know what's right for you, and then going for it. So Mars in Cancer might have some fears. And then the sextile to Chiron brings in even more. It could be a fear of the past. Because Mars in Cancer, Cancer's the past. Maybe you're afraid it's going to unfold like it did. But it can be healing to take action because it shifts the vibration. Remember, everything around you is vibrating at different frequencies. And so if you can get into the same vibration of the energy that you want to match, that you want, it's certainly going to start by taking action or taking on a new perspective. And we know that Mercury is activating a lot of planets. Mercury's the mind. So there could be this need to update your beliefs or find a new perspective so that you can take action. Venus is very active. She's in a conversation with Mercury, Jupiter, Mars, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto. Plus, she rules Chiron and Taurus. So she has a connection to almost every planet. The only planet she's not making a connection to is the Sun and Moon. Venus, being square Mars, opposite Saturn and Neptune, there can be a strain on relationships, money, and your self-esteem at the time of the eclipse. It's really putting an emphasis on your needs, your partner's needs, romantic and platonic love or friendship, what makes you feel good about yourself. It can also bring up money, spending, budgeting, and you might be required to assess how you're spending money and on what. Does it really bring you satisfaction? What makes you feel good on a daily basis? How do you seek pleasure? Venus in Libra wants to feel good. So if things feel bad right now, you might be called to make a change, to improve something, to know what nourishes you and what supports your self-esteem, what builds confidence, what brings you more satisfaction. That's what Venus is all about. But this solar eclipse is ruled by the sun in Leo. And so there's a spotlight being put on those Leo energies in your life. So think about the house topics of Leo and what themes are coming through. Now, that sort of sums up the eclipse. But leading up to the eclipse, August 9, 10, and 11, there's a lot of stuff happening, and you can start to get a preview of what the eclipse will be about. So Sunday, August 9, Mercury enters Leo. So several days before the eclipse, things start getting busier in your Leo house, and she's going to stay there until August 25th. It's a short period of time to help things come together in your Leo house. What's happening there? What new plans are you making? Leo likes to have fun. Mercury's a planner, and they're together. What are you ready to kick off and start or take a risk on? That Mercury in Leo thinks big, especially with Jupiter there. So it's amplifying the situation, and it's an eclipse, so it's being amplified even more. Mercury has a lot of creative ideas in Leo, and she wants to share that. Leo is social, self-expressive, passionate, and wants a platform to share her ideas. This week or over the next month can be a great time to announce something, to gain attention for your skills and talents, to find success within a group or a new leadership position, to find like-minded people to share your ideas with. And you'll see others making announcements, making unexpected changes in their lives and going in a different direction. So that Mercury in Leo really gets things going. Then on Monday, Mercury makes an exact square to Chiron, and Venus opposes Neptune and trines Pluto. I spoke about this, that Mercury square Chiron can bring in those insecurities, and you might feel it a few days before the eclipse. Something comes up, a sensitivity. That's August 10th. And also Venus will be opposite Neptune. And that can bring in some spiritual motivation and some compassion leading up to the eclipse. Maybe a desire to do something bigger to help people. But it can also bring in confusion, lies, self-deception, fear, paranoia. So be aware of what stories you're telling yourself about what will happen next, about who people are, about what you're capable of. Neptune can draw you in with mystery and allure and those rose-colored glasses. Something can seem beautiful and desirable, but you want to be sure it's really what you think and it's really what you want. That Venus is trine Pluto also on Monday, August 10. What's brewing below the surface? That brings in power, influence, transformation. There's a lot happening behind the scenes that may not be public yet. I do sense an announcement coming of things happening behind the scenes, power players, leaders, but there will be more clarity that comes through as Venus moves away from her opposition to Neptune in a couple of days. And then when Mercury gets to 14 degrees Leo on August 17, she's going to make an exact trine to that Saturn at 14 degrees Aries. So that can bring in something grounding, plans, conversation, details that help. And on that same day, August 17, Venus will be sextile Jupiter. So this is a process. Be patient, especially with Saturn and Aries. Now, there's a lot of energy supporting creativity, taking risks, highlighting your talents, encouraging confidence. But eclipses do bring endings. They do bring loss and unexpected change and twists and turns. People break up, they lose their job, they pass away. And because the eclipses work with the nodes, it's about getting you on path. That's the point. It's here to help you grow and evolve. And if you're not on path, then that eclipse will remove something from your life so you can walk in a new direction. And Tuesday, August 11, just before the eclipse, Mars enters Cancer, Mercury opposes Pluto and trines Neptune. And this is where you can feel things brewing, triggering, big feels. Cancer is about your emotional world, and Mars is a fighter, defensive, self-protective. So beware of arguments that might be leading up to the eclipse. Now, the day of the eclipse, the 3 strongest aspects are Mars sextile Chiron and Mercury sextile Uranus. And then, of course, the Sun conjunct Moon. But leading up to it, you have a lot of shifts. So what you want to remember is that the more you embrace your authenticity and your uniqueness, the faster you're going to attract your tribe and what's meant for you. The faster you're going to connect with your fate and destiny. And when you follow what's right for you, sometimes that means ruffling feathers and having haters. People will judge you. Anyone who's ever taken a chance in their life on something, they would never poo-poo on someone doing the same thing. Haters are just people who never took a chance. They're afraid to make a mistake. They're afraid to look stupid because they're judgmental. And they never tried to grow outside their bubble. And we do not allow those types of people to keep us from greatness, do we? So my advice with the eclipse is let your fear propel you into taking action. Don't sit around waiting for things to feel less scary or perfect. But also understand that eclipses do kick up dust in the air. And so think of August and September as when you start moving towards what you want, but also know that the dust won't settle for a little while, and you're not going to totally know what's permanently gone and what's left for you to work with, because the eclipse does eliminate things. So will you change your mind about things? Yes. Will you need to pivot later? Yes. But it's all part of the process. And we're stepping into new territory, so that's going to come with a lot of unknowns. So you got to get comfortable with that. But it doesn't mean sit back and do nothing. This is definitely a go for it energy. And that can be scary because it's scary to put yourself out there. But all of this energy is about risk. Leo is about risk and about expressing yourself. And you can't go wrong if it comes from an authentic place. So I hope this has inspired you. Please share this with anyone you feel would benefit. I appreciate your likes and comments. And remember, your vibration is a choice. So choose the vibration of what you want and who you want to be. Align yourself with the vibration of where you're going next. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.